bring content right to you. What we do is we gather up information across from all platforms and put these answers in front of you. Because again, no one's reinventing the wheel here. As I said, it's trucking. It's the same problems over and over again. And so what we do is we get them in front of people so they can resolve them and get their trucks out on the road. All right. So one of the things this week I got a call. It was pretty heavy. I had an individual. What I mean is I had several calls actually this week on the same topic. So that's why we bring it up. So the individual is actually buying his truck, from a dealer and so forth, and so he's going to do that, and everything's in line. So he's really making sure that everything is done. Down payment is ready to rock and roll. Eyes on the truck, getting it inspected, and all that stuff. Not even sure if he's going to do a dyno on it or not, but at any rate, a couple things that he missed. Right, he didn't really have a plan for the plates. He actually had a misconception and he misunderstood, and he's not the only one. So this isn't about, calling anybody out. He thought that the plate that the dealer would give you, that he would be able to work with that plate. And then what would happen is he had some time to either get his own or jump on a carrier plate. As a matter of fact, my man didn't really know what a carrier plate is and how it works. So we were able to talk to that guy. So for my people who are out there, first time owner operators to be, yes, buying that truck can be an overwhelming process. And while you're in there, please be cautious, because that template that they give you is only to port the truck out of there to the carrier where you're going to be going, to take it home, to just move it out of there. Obviously, you're leaving the dealer with no decals, nothing like that. So that template is only for that. It is not to work, guys. You cannot work with that plate. So just wanted to share that. If you knew, you knew. If you didn't, now you do. Okay. So we have those little things that make a difference, right? Because again, we talk about it all the time. If you haven't seen our videos, please check them out. They come out every day after 5 o'clock, Monday to Friday, dropping gems just like this with valuable content so that you can get your truck on the road. So what we always say is, if you're buying a truck, you should be planning everything out. So once it leaves that dealer, that monthly payment is coming. It is showtime. You want to be able to get that truck out on the road as quick as possible. So you should have a plan already for the plate and what you're going to be doing in order to take care of that. So we could definitely help you out with something like that and how the process works and the effective way we do it so that guys minimize their downtime. You just got to give us a call at 863-342-5171. So we'll help you handle that. Jazzy, thank you for that. Good looks. I appreciate that. Okay, so and as we get questions every single day, all like I said, all across the media platform, we'll dive into some of those right now. All right, so what's a good emergency fund goal before starting? So the idea is to always start, right? The idea is to always start. There is no real magic number, but I would say a good solid number would be 10K. Let's say, and I know before people fall out of their chair, you could probably do it a little bit less than that. Just my opinion. What I would feel comfortable with is probably no less than 5 for sure. You can have access to Buenos dias, Sam Motors. How you doing? So I would have access to 5. So that doesn't mean it's just cash, right? You can have that on a credit card. You can have that half cash, half credit card, whatever it is, but access to that immediately, so that you can resolve any kind of issues, because we go over that all the time. Like, the truck will be new to you. It doesn't mean that it's new. And I get it. There's some guys out there that are buying brand new trucks, but it doesn't mean nothing will ever happen. So you always want to have some extra dough on that. So anywhere from 5 to 10 is probably going to be that sweet spot. 10 being you're probably going to get through anything that could really happen and push through. That's probably why I picked that. Should I finance or pay cash for my first truck? I know what everybody's gonna say, man. Like, I see it in the comments, everything. I think a lot of people think a major goal is to have a truck paid off. And although I do agree that that is a sweet spot to be, but that moment doesn't last forever. So even though that may be a goal, that's also just a stepping stone in your journey of being an owner operator. So I'm not the guy that's going to be scared of a finance, right? Because the business is going to pay for itself. It all comes down to what am I buying, right? Is this equipment? Do I trust it? Can I take any load that I deem necessary and not scared that this thing is going to break down, right? I never want to be in that because then in my subconscious I would know that my truck could break down at any moment. So how can I focus on money making, strategies, tactics, working with my dispatcher if at the end of the day I'm just so scared that this truck is going to break down. So again, financing wouldn't be a problem. You can get plenty of good deals out there in this market, 1,700 a month, to name a few. And that you shouldn't be scared of that type of payment for an owner operator. That's not a problem. You know what I mean? And often hear like guys saying like, "Hey man, if I didn't have a truck payment, it would be easier." But we're only talking like 25 grand for the year. Like that's not enough to retire for anybody. So I don't not necessarily agree with that. I would rather have a peace of mind, even though it comes with that monthly payment and maybe some warranties and whatnot. Better mileage on that truck that I would get my hands onto. So I wouldn't be scared of financing. I wouldn't deplete my cash. That's one thing that I would not do. So let's just take that $10,000 because we were just talking about that. So 10 grand. Imagine that I can get away with, putting down payment five at a place like Lone Mountain. Now I got a $1,700 down payment, but again, I'm getting a 2022 with 300,000 miles on it. Plenty of meat right there on that truck, and I got five in a bank and a few on a credit card, and now I'm ready. Now I'm not scared, right? I'm not operating in fear, and now I can actually hyper focus on being successful. So those are the things that I would be focusing on. And then there you go. So no, I would not pay cash for my first truck. I just wouldn't do that, even if I had the ability to do so. So that's just one way to look at it. Paying cash and then depleting your funds and hoping nothing goes wrong. That wouldn't be a good plan for me. All right, Fred said, when you have a nest egg, you tend to have less problems. Yeah, that's for sure. And I think that comes, Fred, with just your mind frame. You're able to view problems differently. Um, and because you're not like relaxed mode, right? You're not coming from a place of lack. Once you have that mindset of lack and desperation kicks in, you can't see solutions that are there available to you the whole time. So a shift does happen when you're in that position. So I would encourage everybody to hurry up and get there and get that nest egg going. But until and while you work on that, guys, make sure you give me that thumbs up. I got 8 people in the chat, but only two thumbs up. I need a little bit more than that to help the algorithm push this in front of people. Remember, I'm trying to be Polk County famous, man. Y'all gotta help me out here. So here we go. Make sure you like, share. If you're not already subscribed, jump over to our Super Trucker podcast and get that subscription. And hit that bell so that you get notified when gems like this drop. So help a brother out. All right. Another thing that we're talking about too, these first-time owner operators, where I see people stumble, is going to be insurance. And again, a lot of this content is built for first-time owner operators, and I know seasoned people are going to come through as well. But here we go. Like what I want to talk about the insurance is you have to know what your next step is going to be. So, for example, if you're leasing onto a place, chances are they're going to be providing that cargo and that liability insurance. And so when an owner operator sometimes is going to shop around for insurance, remember, he's been a very successful company driver, but nobody actually took the time to explain what type of insurance he should be shopping for. So if you're leasing on, your typical move is going to be the following. You're probably going to get physical damage, right? Because let's say you did not buy that truck off cash. So who determines the limits on the physical damage, my people? Get with your bank. Your bank may sometimes limit you what insurance companies you can and cannot use. So they'll give you that list. I know financial institution may not use. They may like First Guard, True North, or OIDA or something like that. So you want to get with them to see which one you can and cannot use. So that would be your physical damage. That is the value of your truck in the event of a total loss. So you want to pay attention to that. That's the piece that cuts you the check in the event of that total loss. All right. Most carriers are only going to require the bobtail or the non-trucking liability. That's the small one. That's like what, $50 a month or something like that. No big deal. So those are the two that you're shopping around for. Because if you're confused about that, a lot of times you call an insurance agent like True North or whoever, and they will try to upsell you. So now all of a sudden I've seen guys trying to lock down insurance as if they're trying to open up their own authority, and they're not. So you want to pay attention, be sure to what insurances you're shopping for, and don't let those guys upsell you. So physical damage and bobtail, that's what you're probably going to be shopping for. As a carrier, like here at Voyager, the only thing you're required to bring to the table is going to be the bobtail, or non-trucking, excuse me. So there you go. That's that insurance. It's better to know now before you start shopping around, get confused. I've seen people drop down payments and then try to get them back, and that could be problematic where that money could have been used elsewhere. So again, hope this information serves you. If anybody out there is in that position, now you know. And for my people who know somebody that's buying a truck right now as we speak within these couple of weeks, send this over to them, send them our way. Share it, because we don't want anybody making those kind of mistakes, because they are costly. All right, so make sure you hit that thumbs up. Only 3 out of 10. Come on, man. Let me get a little bit more. So hit me the thumbs up, likes, share, subscribe. Remember, content like this comes out every day, Monday to Friday after 5 p.m. All right, my people. So a couple more questions that we see all the time is, how do you verify broker credit and reliability? So, well, we work hand in hand with a factoring company, right? And you have to leverage that relationship, and that's what we do here, right? You have to leverage uh, that, because you don't know who's out of business nowadays. You'll see 400 truck companies going out. You'll see brokerages like Convoy, when they just fell off the map. I hear that they're coming back and all of that, but now it's going to be difficult to trust that kind of it's going to be difficult to trust it, even though they're going to be linking up with DAT and all that, like a subsidiary or something like that. But still, nevertheless, like, these places do walk away, and then they end up owing people a lot of money. So you don't want to be the one that's owed money, right? Because usually what's going to happen is, even if you file against a bond, if there's anything left, or let's say you're only getting like 3% back of whatever they owe you. So you don't want to be in those positions, my people. So what we do is we work with our factoring company. We're running credit. No matter if I book the load in the morning and we're booking one a few hours later, it is embedded in every single dispatcher that we run credit every single time that you're gonna be booking a load. Factoring company's job is to tell you yes or no, and also they'll share information right during that relationship. They may say, "Hey, listen, we're no longer working with XYZ," and they're sharing that information so you can stop working with XYZ, right? So, because again, nobody wants to be in a problem. They're not here to hurt us. They're here to protect us. What they're doing is they're checking the financial liability with that company, and whether they're gonna be paying or not. So again, that's what we do to stay protected. Even though the load available may be so attractive, and it might be that perfect load to get that driver going, guys, don't do it. If they don't have a credit, don't roll dice. I've seen people be owed 50 grand, 30 grand, and you ain't getting that back. So you don't want to be in that position, my people. All right. Um, how does the dispatch structure keep trucks moving? So pretty much it's the way we're going to do that here is, every single owner operator has a dedicated dispatcher, and that dedicated dispatcher has a responsibility to that truck. There's goals that are in place. So let's just say, my people, from yesterday, we had a really good day orientation. 3 guys got started, they're on loads and all that. So they did sit down with the dispatch and operations, and they talk about the plan, the financial plan. And then it's talking about that dispatcher sees you from point A to point B to point C throughout the whole week. He's there part of the entire process. So there is completely 100% ownership. to whatever market we're going to, because that dispatcher has to get you out, right? That's the difference between having multi, dispatchers in a shared pool. Anybody could book a load into a shitty market and get a good rate, but how are you getting that individual out? That is the major key right there. So you want to be able to focus on that. You want to be able to test your dispatcher and say, okay, what's our plan? How are we going to do this? But that is how we keep our trucks moving. Our guys are accountable, and we hold them to it, right? We hold them to it, because if he doesn't meet the goal, we got to talk about why. Now, sometimes it's trucking, obviously, like shit happens, breakdowns, detention, layovers, all that good stuff is part of the game, but it's really focusing on what we can control and how we react to that situation. So that's the most important piece of that. It's how you play this game called trucking, right? The rules are the same for everybody. It's just how you're going to play. All right. So, guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, get this information in front of other individuals, much like yourself, who are owner operators to be, or actual owner operators looking to make a move. Uh, Give us a call at 863-342-5171. We're here to help out. All right. Uh, Another thing that came across, where an individual was actually purchasing the truck, was the topic of a dispatch service. So he's looking for a dispatch service. However, because he's not running under his own authority, he shouldn't be looking for a dispatch service. He should be looking for a carrier. So again, I know a lot of you guys know all already, but I'm trying to talk to my people who don't know just yet, right? So we're trying to help these gentlemen out, and ladies too. So what this guy was doing was actually just, it was a misworded question, but somebody who doesn't ask a little bit more may give them a misguided answer. Okay. So the dispatch service is actually somebody that just gets you, is just going to work getting, they work the job of getting you loads. However, you would have to have your own authority, your own, your own everything. You're on your own. That dispatcher just dispatches you. And, the problem with offering that dispatch service, number one, as a dispatcher, I would have to wait for him to pay me after completing, right? That's kind of number one. That's a little different. But not just that, like as an owner operator, you can have multiple dispatchers like that working for you, 10%, let's say, but where's the ownership? The biggest concern you should have is, let's say you're trying to get out of Florida, right? And the guy's like, he's gonna just open it up, offer you low hanging fruit. If you don't want it, he's like, all right, I'll call you back, and then he doesn't, because there's no ownership to it. He's just actually kicking the can down the road. You may get a call from him again, but tomorrow when you're in a better market. So he's like, hey man, just checking in, where you at? Do you need another load? Just offering my services. And so this guy is capitalizing when you are in a good market, and just kind of ghosting you when you are in a bad market. So again, you want somebody who's a lot more invested in that. You want somebody that is going to own it from cradle to grave. You want them to really have your best interest in mind, because your business depends on it. That's why. So again, my man, when you're calling, looking around for dispatch services, it's not just that. You want it where it's from a carrier much like us, because you're going to want to run under our authority. Our dispatchers are responsible from not just financially, but again, making sure that you can make the hours of service and compliance, safety compliance, everything that gets kind of meshed together and massaged there. That's what you're looking for. So for my man who is just starting, buying that truck, looking to run under a carrier, just make sure that comes together. So once you're under that carrier, you can now go run for another DOT. So just be aware of that. So just trying to clear the air on some stuff. I know people are asking. So there you go. That's how you got to handle those three pieces. If you have additional questions to that, for sure, give us a call at 863-342-5171. And for all my people who are just joining in, remember, if you like this type of content, share, like, subscribe, get that done before you continue hearing our content. So please help us out in that regard. It helps the algorithm. Can you make money doing regional? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Just give us a call. Nina's on standby, 863-342-5171. All right. All right. So how do I avoid burnout running OTR? So everybody's different. You're actually going to have to know what your capacity is, right? You're going to have to know what the plan is. You're going to have to know. You're going to have to have a goal, and as you go reaching those goals, burnout is not going to, making those goals is going to give you, it's going to give you the good feeling to keep pushing forward. Pushing forward, it means that your plan is working. A burnout is going to be different for everybody. Some guys can burn out after 2 weeks. Some guys can burn out after three, four, five. So really, it's more about what you can endure. That's a personalized answer to what the individual is willing to do and how bad they want it. So it really comes just down to that, because if a guy's missing home after 2 weeks, that's his story. I've seen people who say 6 weeks is the sweet spot. He's got to go home after that because anything after that 6 week, he's not even making decisions the same anymore. It's just kind of like he's on edge. He's kind of annoyed at things, and so it's time to reset. So again, uh, don't really let anybody tell you what that number is going to be. I would say that you explore it on your own, push your limits, right? Because you got to be uncomfortable to grow. So push the limits, and then you make that assessment for yourself based on your capacity and on your situation, because again, it is different for everybody. All right. Uh, how many miles per week do I really realistically need? And again, I would just always say what what can I run legally, and that would be my target. That would always be my target because in good times it's more money, and when it's not as great, it's going to be I'm still making enough to keep afloat. So I'm always consistent with my miles. That creates a consistent settlement check. That creates consistent cash flow to my business. So again, guys, all my super truckers out there, make sure thumbs up. We need that going. I got 9 people in the chat. I only got 5 thumbs up. Something's off there. Let me get that. And guys, like, share, subscribe. Content like this comes out daily, 9 a.m. Every single morning. Monday to Friday. We're here live. So please check us out. All right. So again, uh, jumping back to that first time owner operator, making sure, that when you're buying your first truck, guys, that you buy it with a valid DOT inspection. So let me tell you a little bit about that. Uh, a DOT inspection is valid for a year. So if you're buying it and it's still valid and it's expiring at the end of the month, it's valid in that year. So just kindly ask them, make sure that you get a new DOT inspection on that. Or even if you're test driving that bad boy, I would spend the dough, go to your local place, just get an inspection, fresh pair of eyes on that, because a lot of dealers, their mechanics work for them, and of course it's in their favor. Get an extra pair of eyes on that. So that's just a free pointer there on what you can do to protect yourself, especially for my first time owner operators. Um, so here we go. And then, I do get this question a lot. What should I look for a tax preparer? Well, I'm not a tax guy, and I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. But what I wouldn't do, I am not going to H&R blog or like those things that pop up every year and all that. Nah, you have to look for a tax guy that does just trucking. They're gonna learn. They're gonna know all the loopholes that benefit you and how to get the most bang for your buck. So I would actually look for someone who has experience directly in trucking. So there's plenty of that, but that's what I would do. All right. Uh, and then again, actually, this lines up with the with our question before, right? So um, Fred said, "Hey, I might go back to bed. Christian got this guy. Oh man, it's a team effort, guys. We got to get this done. We got to get this done." So how do you avoid getting scammed by a dispatch service? That's difficult, man, because like those cats could double broker on you, and then I wouldn't say so much scammed. I just, guys, put it in the comments. Who does that? Who has a dispatch service and running their own authority? Do you use the same guy for every single day, or do you switch that up? I actually want to know more about that. So if you put that in the comments, here we go, guys. Junior, he just mentioned ATBS accounting, so I'm assuming they do that. So there's a shout out. ATBS, there we go, accounting. They must be some experts. Again, I didn't vet them. Somebody's just dropping information, and that's what this show is about. Let's put that all there. So, Junior, are they where are they out of? Do they have multiple locations or Tampa Bay area? So let's wait up for the answer on that. And while we wait for that, guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, get this content in front of other people. Give me that thumbs up. I only got 5, man. What's up with that? And 11 people in there. Come on, man. Let me get that thumbs up. All right. So so those are the things that you got to be they only oh here we go, they only do trucking. That's pretty solid. So that's, they're experts at that, so they'll make you win. Fred said ATBS is solid. They're out of Denver. So here we go, guys. ATBS, there we go. So anybody about to get their taxes done for the first time, there's a perfect place. So here we go. So then we have, like, why is the spot market risky for new owner operators? I don't necessarily think it's risky, my people. I can see where that question comes from, because you're going on a new adventure and you're buying a truck. And so people look for that comfort zone, right? You want to look for something that's easy, right? And this whole entire project, you're trying to look for something that's easy, that's comfortable, that's not as risky, but that's not the place right there. Uh, you know, you're going to get a bigger reward. Your ROI is going to be so much better because your business has versatility. So, guys, anybody opening a business, you need options as a company. Even like right now, ATBS, cool, solid people, check them out. But don't just stop there. You need options as an owner. Find out something there that's, you need to be presented with some options. So imagine this. Just like Voyager Nation, we've had our dispatchers, right? They know how to work the program. They know how to find you the quality loads. So a guy may tell us, "Hey, all I run is regional, right? I don't touch Ohio." Let's say an individual says that, because you don't drive in the snow. Cool, not a problem. But guess what? My guy's going to offer it at some point. Not that he has to take it. It's not for him to get offended by it, but it might be the springtime, no snow on the ground. But now that load is going to make sense. So it doesn't mean that my guy has to take it, but he has the option. So as a business owner, my man got options in order to do it or not. You want to do that. You don't want to put your dispatcher inside of a box and then tell him to be creative. I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't haul this way. Now you put this guy in a box and you're asking him to max out. It's just not going to work. So you want my man to have those options. Let his creative juices flow. Let him get creative. Let him bring shit to the table. And then now you're also seeing different types of alternatives to get to the same financial outcome that's necessary for you to thrive. So you need to keep them inspired. You need to keep them on their toes. You keep saying no, 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 and limiting a guy. Well, who's excited about that, right? So know what you have. You got the power of a business that can turn it on and off, as we talked about yesterday. You could be out there doing OTR, scale it down to home every week. All of that is your choice. But again, pay attention to that. Uh, all right, so here we go. Michael's saying, how does any one owner operator know when the time is right to buy a second truck and hire a driver? Hoorah. Well, what I say is the time is always now, right? There's no perfect silver bullet to answer this question. But one thing that I would say is what I have suggested in the past, and a couple people have done it. I wouldn't recommend it for a long time, but I would say, why don't you run teams with this guy? And what's going to happen is now you're going to see a little bit of what this guy is made of. Because trust me, not everybody says everything up front. We project a version of ourselves that we typically aren't 100% that person. So, run with this cat. And now you see if he can really bang out the 600-700 miles a day. Or are you hovering around 500? All right. So now you're doing that. Michael, give it a few. Now you're getting to see this guy, how he does his pre-trip. You're getting to see all of that, how he treats the truck, how he drives. If you like what you see, all right. So now what I would do is let him go solo for a week or two. But if you don't like what you see, when he's in front of you and he's behaving like that in front of you, what do you think will happen when you're not there? So I think that, because the easy part about this formula, Michael, is actually buying the truck. That's the easy part. And nowadays, like anybody can buy a truck. That's not hard, but it's not easy either. But like in respect to the project here, but what's difficult is that finding the driver, finding the guy that's going to stay. And even when you do find that perfect guy that is going to stay, remember, he may have that entrepreneurial spirit that you have as well. And it's only a matter of time before he's buying his own truck as well. And ever he has the right to, right? Level up. That's what we're all here for. So I would say that, man, like if you find a guy, run teams with him for about a week, scale it back, let him run solo, make sure he's consistent. And then if it's really going to work out, then at that point, hey, now you go buy that second truck, man. That's just kind of one way to make sure that it works out. But at the end of the day, it's always a gamble. This is just the way I would approach it. Just very hands on because it's a risky business. So there you go. All right. And again, the other thing too, man, I would my fleet driver would be forced dispatch. Now I know some people don't agree, but let me explain, right? He doesn't somebody said I had teams break up mid-load. Yeah, there you go. That shit is gonna happen. So that's what I'm talking about. You want to know that now before you bought the second truck, like before you dropped, made that 30,000 or whatever investment. So yeah, for sure. It happens to all of us. Um, so so going back to where was I, man? It was a good comment, so it derailed me a little bit. Uh, so going back to that forced dispatch on that fleet driver, right? The reason I would be doing that is because that fleet driver is going to be making decisions based on what's important to him. And he's not responsible for repairs, and he's not responsible for maintenance, and he's not responsible for insurance. He doesn't have those costs. So it's the decision making from that person isn't calculating that. So if I'm paying that bill, then it's going to be forced dispatch. Because at that point, I'm going to ensure that there's enough cash flow and revenue to pay the guy, pay the truck, and hopefully something left for me for the rainy day where I got to keep him moving. So my decision is also going to be based on keeping the company moving forward and that we avoid downtime, right? It's not just because I don't trust what the guy has to say. He just doesn't have the same responsibilities as I do. So how can his decision making be the same if we're responsible for different things? So that's why I would do that. I would definitely force dispatch that fleet driver. It's monumental to your business to ensure that he's getting paid. So it's actually a benefit for him. They just may not see it that way, but it's something that I would definitely do. Um, so here we go on that. Uh, is it true that market is dead and no one makes money? Nah, that's not true. I mean, just think about it. Look at all of us on here right now. Everybody's here is making some kind of money, right? Some more than others and whatnot. But the industry isn't dead. It's just social media, man. Like there's content out there. Just you gotta choose to what you're gonna pay attention to, brother, man. All right. Um, why do so many new owner operators fail? I think you get in your own way. I really think that, man. I think that a lot of the guys of what they're doing out there is basically the following. They have a perception of what this should be. So number one rule, my people, do not buy your truck to work less. That is a bad, 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 bad. Uh, that is a bad concept. All right. So you should not buy a truck to work less. Or you shouldn't start any business to work less. That's not how you do it. Most guys, they don't see that you started work and bust your ass. You're working more, and then that is your formula. And somehow along the line, a few years later, you may find yourself doing just different responsibilities You know what I mean? And so what's going to happen is, as you're doing those different responsibilities, uh, you get a little bit more freedom, but that's a byproduct from you busting your ass and making sure that you were running and making your business succeed. So it's a byproduct. That's not the goal. All right. All right. So here we go. And those owner operators that are failing is usually because of that. You know, and most of the guys are going to count the cost before we even get started. So what I mean by that is, I've had people where like, all right, man, 4 weeks out, like I can't do that. But you ain't even okay. 2 weeks out, can't do that either. All right, so you're discounting all of these things. There's only so much you can do in this industry to elevate your revenue, right? Which is get out there into good areas, trust your dispatcher, have them move you around. That is the formula. There is no other secret. But instead, I've seen guys searching and searching and searching for magical loads that don't exist. And so while we're searching for these things that don't exist, what we're not doing is changing our behavior and doing something different to improve our revenue. So every week that goes by while you're looking for this magical unicorn, you're hemorrhaging money, you're losing money, you're getting deeper in the hole. So you don't want to be caught up in that. So again, it's an emotional factor, but it's real. It's out there and it happens, guys. Because how many times are you going to hear like a guy closed? Why? Because of the market. Well, then how come everybody didn't go out of business? Right. So yes, it is a factor, but also decision making has a big is a big part of that as well. So there you go. Uh, was social media advice why is social media advice often garbage? Oh, man, I don't know, man. Like people do it for clicks and likes, and I guess they're getting paid out there or something like that. But but the problem is, it's what you choose to look at, right? Like those guys that like dispatching, sitting on a jet ski and with a pina colada. Like, come on, man, that's all bullshit. We're here to work. Like, it's not that easy. This business is a lot more competitive and cutthroat than that. In a good way, it's for those people who are extroverts. It's for the people who like sales, negotiating, who love pressure. To thrive in this industry, I believe you gotta like to operate in pressure, man. Believe it or not, there are people like that. This is not that stagnant industry where you're just in a cubicle and you don't talk to anybody every day. So a lot of that social media is just to catch people's attention, and usually they'll have something to sell, the dispatch course, how to do trucking, and that's for sale. And I get it, man. Like you have enough followers, that becomes a vertical in your business. I'm not knocking that. But but what I am saying, it's like it's a lot harder than that. Like you got guys out there showing, their daily on getting a box truck and how he's making money and this and that, and then he's delivering that information to you from his from his AMG Mercedes. Um, I don't know, man. Like, why is that's very calculated, man. I think that's more about a show. But again, just I'm not saying that there are bad people out there. I'm just saying consider the source. That's all. That's all I'm talking about. Is consider the source. So even here, I'm not gonna. We can show the pretty, but what about the grinding? What about the real shit that has to happen every single day for that Mercedes to actually be there, right? Uh, you know, do we like nice trucks, long nose Pete's classics? Yeah, they look nice. Is chrome nice? Yeah, it looks nice. None of that shit is gonna help you. So even though it looks nice, guys, we're just talking real, because when that check comes, and if you have positive net, then you solve problems with that. At the end of the day, the only way somebody is solving problems is by taking money home. And now you can pay for this, pay for that, pay for this. And that's why we came. And most people forget what we came for. And now instead of adjusting our behavior, we're trolling the internet for somebody to solve our problems. So guys, you don't want to be caught up in that. You got to take about you got to handle it and solve your own problems, and by making adjustments. So that's what I say about that. Um, what is the real workload difference between leased on and your own authority? Oh, yeah, yeah. That is a big, 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 big to do. But before I answer that, my people, let me get the thumbs up. I appreciate everybody on here. If you like this content, please forward this to a buddy, share it. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Super Trucker Podcast. We drop gems like this all the time, Monday to Friday after 5 o'clock. and hit that bell so you're notified when new stuff comes out. Uh, as they say, Chrome don't bring you home. Here we go. That's for sure. Um, difficult to. All right. So Junior, why is it difficult to guesstimate a net? So the net is going to be difficult because there are external costs that we don't know about you and we don't control. Um, we don't. Any carrier is not going to know how many miles per gallon you're getting. They're not going to know what your truck payment is. They're not going to know what your insurance cost is. They're not going to know, your permits. They're not going to know a lot of these things. So that is your fixed cost. So having your fixed cost is a major part of the calculation. Because think about this, man. If somebody is getting, where we actually seen this, somebody gets 4 to the gallon and somebody getting 8.5 to 9, right? That is easily $1,000 difference on the exact same loads. That's $1,000 difference on these guys. So that is a major part of your cost, right? Of your business. I'm calculating the net. Another thing is like the intangible, right? You got probably about 5 factors here. Is the driver 5, 6, 700 mile a day kind of guy? Can this person even show up on time? And I get it. We all say we do, and then we don't. Can they manage their hours of service? And I'm not just talking about illegal shit, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about there are guys that don't know how to split. There are guys that misjudge it, took a shower at the wrong time, or got fuel at the wrong time. Yeah, with a decade under their belt. So I'm just telling you how it is. Like, talk to any hours of service safety person who monitors that and tell them what kind of problems they have. I encourage you to do that. So I'm pretty sure it'll be eye opening. So right there are 3 of them, right? Where they're willing to go and not go is another major factor. Okay, because now that's going to determine, are you willing to go to good markets, right? So you have those 4 variables right there that no one has control over. So nobody can calculate that for that. You know what you can do. You should be asking to always get to that better idea of what you can make at a certain company. Hey man, this is how I run. I'm good for 550 miles a day. Blah blah blah. I don't drive at night. I don't do this. I don't do that. And just be clear with that, so they can then show you their top earner, and then you calculate from there. So if now you know where you're going to fall kind of in that parameter, and you have a better idea. But again, those factors that I don't control, if somebody is really bad at controlling those factors for themselves and managing that, it don't matter where they go. They're not going to make money there or here. But if somebody excels at managing and has self-control and is really good at managing themselves, you'll make money. It's not a problem. It's the same everywhere you go at the end of the day, right? I mean, for you to put hours, to put miles on, right? So here we go. 863-342-5171. Get my girl Nina. She'll talk to you directly and kind of get you a better idea of what you can actually do here. But that is kind of why it becomes difficult for that. All right, FMCSA Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse and e-logs are too intrusive, getting towards authoritarian trucking with tons of government oversight. Yeah, here we go. And then be careful what we ask for, right? Because we're doing the same thing. We just talked about this yesterday on the podcast. Broker transparency. Here we go. That's right in line with this. You know what I mean? I just want to say, like, with that broker transparency, right? It's carriers and against the brokers, and we're fighting this battle and who's paying more. But nobody's actually. What about? I got a question, right? What about the shipper? What happens when they start to see? When they start to see that, what do you think they're going to do? Like, if they were paying C.H. Robinson, let's say $2,000 on this load, and you only got 1,000, what do you think, you're going to get 2,000? No, somebody there has a brain, and it's going to be like, yo, this guy was willing to do it for a G, so here it goes. Now I'm only going to pay 1,000, and now the broker's going to take their cut from that 1,000, and now you get even paid less. So guys, we got to forward think and let capitalism do its thing and just negotiate the shit out of shit. Like, so sometimes it may appear broken, But guys, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't really think that we should have that transparency, because it's not gonna really do what we think it's gonna do. Like, we all know this ain't fair. Uh, we all know e-logs weren't adjusted in our favor. We all see what happened for drug and alcohol. Then why do we think this will be any different? Just being hopeful. So anyway, that's just kind of a sidebar. Okay. Uh, how can I tell if someone's giving advice online is even successful? Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a couple things you can do. Like, whoever they're working for, look them up on Safer. How many trucks they have? What's their safety score? What kind of content are they sharing with you? Right? Is it about boots on the ground in the trenches? Because a lot of the stuff that we talk about here is because we lived it. You can't make this shit up. So a lot of it is because we've been in the trenches. We learned the hard way. It cost us money, and so we're just trying to share that with everybody so that they could take it for face value. I'm not even saying you have to like it. I'm not saying you don't have to like it. I'm just telling you, I went through this shit. This is what happened to me. Be careful, and then you do what you got to do. So that's what this is about. All right. So here we go. Bye. And guys, drop comments below. Keep them coming. It's funny. It's funny. I've been out here for 32 years and 27 years as an owner operator. The more regulated DOT has got, the more accidents have happened. So there you go. That's an observation. Um, here we go. Here we go. So I even wonder, man. Like, like some of these mega carriers, man, that offer the schools and all that. They have like DOT on site at the school watching. So all those graduates you see walking around, or like driving around, like, you just got to know there was a DOT office on site at one of those places. So how effective can everything really be? All right, I don't know, man. They got ears, they hear things, and hey, I don't need no nobody visiting me. So guys, like, be careful here. All right. So going back to the workload difference between Lisan and your own authority, guys, that is very polarized. That is night and day. So again, that is not for everybody. You have to see, what you're capable of. You got to see if somebody is backing you. I don't know, wifey or something like that is going to do some of that back office stuff, or if they want nothing to do with this. Uh, like, not everybody loves trucking. I know my wife ain't watching this. She should be, but she probably not. Like, but here we go. You just got to be honest with yourself of what you can do and what you can't do. So how much of that you're actually going to bite off is up to you and your capacity of what you can do, because you don't want to overextend yourself and then all of a sudden end up failing because it's just too much too fast. And we talk about that all the time. I would rather see somebody gradually grow into that. But in that gradually growing, you're actually sharpening your tools, you're getting smarter as you go, you're gaining confidence where you're not losing, right? You shifted some liabilities. So now you're allotted that space to learn because other people are responsible in handling it for you. It's very different if you're trying to run it on yourself and you're ignoring it. It doesn't mean that the problem is solved. DOT's coming for that first audit. Um, Insurance is going to get renewed, claims are going to happen, underpayments are going to happen. You booked the load without checking credit because you were in a rush. They canceled the load. So can you handle all of that kind of stuff? And it's blitz week, so can you handle all of that on your own? I'm not saying you cannot. I'm just saying, if you haven't, I would say you gradually build yourself up to that, and don't put yourself in a position where you're overwhelmed and you forgot what you came for, and now you're at the point of no return. I've had several conversations, man, this year alone, where a lot of guys, unfortunately, they didn't check out our content beforehand. They bought a truck, did everything on their own. They've never dispatched, and they were to the point of no return because the money was already collected by the insurance. Um, Everything was in motion already. They got their own authority, MC, it's active. Now they're looking for the factoring company, ELD service. It would be too expensive to just quit in their eyes. So they kind of swam halfway across the lake, and to turn back, it just wasn't an option for them. So I'm just trying to avoid people from getting in that position. Again, gradually grow, you will get there. But you got to stay with it. Pick what you're gonna do. If that's the goal, then you're leasing on to someone temporarily. It may be a year, it may be a year and a half, 2 years. And don't just be a steering wheel holder. You got to learn. You got to be asking. You got to say, all right, learn about the dispatching, learn about the compliance, learn about all of that, and then you can make yourself a little bit stronger because now you buy a trailer. Boom. Now you're going to experience what it is to be owner operator while owning that trailer, right? And so now you're living through that while somebody is still handling the back office work. So you become a master at that, and now you can handle more. All right. Let me get that thumbs up. Got 8 people in the chat, only 7. I need 1 more. Share this content, smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell. That way you're notified when stuff like every day, this type of videos are coming out. It's either done by me or Mike, but go ahead and get that done so that you can enjoy the content. All right. And guys, please make sure drop some topics in the comments so we know exactly what to go over for you guys. Because again, if we don't have the answer right here on the spot, we're going to go get it and we will bring it back to you. But again, this is geared towards first-time owner operators or owner operators in general. But again, starting your business is so important. Linking yourself up to the right partners is monumental for your success. That's where Voyager Nation comes in. We're here to help out. It is 863-342-5171. Give us a call directly, and we're here to help out, and let's partner up. Success is watching you be successful is the win. That's how everything wins and everything falls into place. And here we go. That's the idea. All right. So where's some of my people at? Who's getting loaded or unloaded at this point? Anybody in California? For some reason, man, I think a lot of Cali pops up, but just wondering. Now, I hope nobody's in New York City, but let me know if you're in the boroughs, guys. All right. So I got a comment here too. One change I have noticed is the job searching is not as simple as before. Back in the day, you find a truck driver, job magazine, all that stops. Now it's all internet, and it's always getting the same company. It's trucks up. Yeah, and I get it. I get it, man. Like you gotta be careful nowadays, like finding drivers. Yeah, for sure, man. I think Craigslist used to be the king of the king of recruiting out there. That's pretty much dead. And and it just gets more complicated. It gets harder and harder, especially the new people coming out. They're all tech savvy. Some of them don't even know what Craigslist is. Nobody talks at a truck stop anymore. I remember back in the day, you used to be able to go to a truck stop and like just post up, and you would have conversations with people. And you could actually recruit. Nowadays, you just look psycho, like the guy in the corner. Like nobody's going to talk to you. So, and it's hit or miss, man. It's just inefficient. Like you find better ways to do business because, all right, here we go. M&A Club about to get loaded. Flatbed. Here we go, man. Thumbs up. Here we go. Nice and early. So going back to that, you could stay at a truck stop and be there all day and you talk to 5 people. Sometimes you have hold up. Sometimes you have better days and you talk to 20 people. But I don't think that's effective anymore because they got so much of this AI tools, man, and you can get in the same amount of time, same amount of money, man. You can reach them through telephone and through services, Facebook, and all that. So that's why that changes, I believe. Cali pops up because I have no trucking left. They only see it on social media, getting their daily dose of trucking. Yeah, for sure, man. Like here we go. Like Cali got some different rules, man. So here we go. So those are the challenges of the industry, and it's always evolving. What do I think about automation and trucking? Example, self-driving trucks. I don't know, man. I do see it like on the lot on the line haul, right? But once you're entering like towards that last mile, like somebody's got to take over the wheel because I don't see how the liability, everything, it's all good until somebody gets hurt. And then here we go. That's going to open up Pandora's box, and that shit will be a major problem in the industry. Because we're plagued by lawsuits. A lot of companies close because of that. Nuclear verdicts that are out there. And even if a company could be getting sued by 8 different people and they don't go anywhere, but the cost is real because you still have to pay to go to litigation. And even if you win, did you really even win? Like how much money was spent just protecting yourself? So I don't know how they're going to get beyond that. Can you just imagine the field day of an accident and there was nobody driving that truck? um, you know what if there's a tire blowout? How is that system going to handle that if nobody's at the wheel? It's a simple question. What if it's ice? Everything that is so manual and you have to be there. I don't see how that'll be automated. I think there'll be a version, some kind of integration of that, but I don't know about fully automated. But technology is technology, and I know some people say they're testing it, but I'd be interested to see. Like I can see it on the highway, but what happens when you get into the local streets when you get off of that exit ramp? Like how well would they perform in a situation like that? All right. Uh, Okay, just hopping on Hudson Heights, just hopping on. What makes Voyager Nation best fit for owner operator? Do you ask what are CPM to find loads? Yeah. So what we do, Hudson, is in orientation. All of that information is gathered. So that is what we handle in the orientation. We got to get to know each other in that regard. What is the goal? We have to understand the person's goal and is it aligned with the work area they're willing to do. Or we're talking about the market, what areas are popping, what areas are not, and they're also going to ask how many miles are you good for. What's your on-time service look like? How well do you manage hours of service? Okay, not just a simple yes. Hey, can you email us your last 7 days? Let's take a look at that and to see how you run. And it's not about pointing anything out, but it's about being effective and efficient. So dealing with the real information that really matters to making money is the best. Like here we go. Our orientation is quick because of the following, right? Uh, we're talking about what you need to be successful, how you are as a owner operator and what your habits are so that we can best plan accordingly, because there's nothing worse than somebody saying, hey, I could bang out 700 miles in a day and then they do 5. Okay, doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is when that dispatcher has to move your appointment time and now you become a work-in and now has to give back a reload. And so now you got to give a reload back with style and grace because nowadays everybody drops a freight card for no reason. And so a lot of behind the scenes goes there. We're being honest about it. Hey man, like don't run me that tight. I'm about 550 for the day. Boom. Then we're adapting to that, right? We're negotiating based on that. We're finding your work area. We're finding that sweet spot based on that. So that's the important part. So yes, it's very customized to the owner operator that's in front of us. This is not one silver bullet, all one size fits all type shit. Like this does not work like that. This business is very different than that. That's why when you're calling certain recruiters and you're like, "What's the average?" I could make a whole video about what's the average. That's just not. It's not going to give you a very clear, concrete understanding of where you're going to fall in that scheme of things. All right. Uh, Here we go. Fred, Carl Former just closed after 71 years because of 6 or 7 lawsuits they've been fighting. Here we go. Here we go. And you know what, man? Like, I don't know if it's tied, but at the same time, like I think those guys were onboarding people with 1 year experience, right? So there's even the risk in that. Like, so a new guy jumping into the market doesn't really understand like why he's not getting hired right away or why is everybody asking. why everybody's asking for 2 years. How am I supposed to get the 2 years? And it seems like you should have a clear-cut answer, but at the end of the day, it's shit like this where Carl Former on those lawsuits. I would be interested to see how much, who were the guys that caused that, and now is it gonna you're giving a guy a chance, but now when you're up in a deposition talking about why this was a good idea, man, it's a complicated business, man. But here you go. These are the type of things that happen all the time. That's unfortunate for them. We never want to see somebody get hurt in that way. All right. So guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Every day, Monday to Friday, videos come out after 5 o'clock, 9 a.m. We are here, sharp, front and center, answering all the questions live. With no BS. So here you go. You may like what you hear, you may not, but at the end of the day, it's just all truth, truthful information, so that you can make best decisions for yourself and thrive at this game called trucking. 650 miles is always a safe number. Here we go. I definitely agree. But just know, Junior, there are people, man, just because that's easy there are people that can't do that. And they are also my customer. But I believe that's a sweet spot as well. But everybody has a little bit different capacities. TSJ just shut down today following Carl Former. Here we go. Another one bites the dust. Do you know why? So I'm sure we can get it. We can see a little bit about that. So again, so also understanding why people shut down. You know what I mean? I think that's also important, not just to cover it with a blanket statement. Trucking's dead and it's the rates, and probably not that, man. Like probably that those lawsuits are pain in the ass, and I'm sure there's strategy behind that. All right, Hudson Heights. Yeah, thank you, man. Hey, listen, please give us a call, man. 863-342-5171 to get further details about how we do things, and how we can customize it to how you operate. All right, so I want to thank each and every one of you for joining. I appreciate you. I appreciate the questions. Keep them coming, please. It really helps. It really helps us get in front of this camera and do this on a daily basis. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, share this content with fellow truckers. I'm sure they can learn something. We don't know everything, but we can definitely help out for those that are looking to become owner operators and so we can help you ease that transition so you know what to expect. All right, my people. Please drive safe, stay safe, keep earning. And remember, if you're looking for a better opportunity, you got to give us a call at 863-342-5171. All right. So if there's no other questions, I appreciate you. We will talk tomorrow. Mañana for you, Sam. All right, guys. Be safe out there.